to start by thanking you all on behalf of my loving parents, my beautiful fiancée Tracy, and my precious daughter Roddy, for all the love and support we've all received over the last week. It was this love and support that gave us the strength to get out of bed every day. I'd also like to say on behalf of Damien that he loved each and every one of us here with all his heart and would have never wanted to cause us such pain. I like to think that he's here with us right now with this beautiful smile on from ear to ear, saying, "Don't worry about me, guys. I'm having the bestest time ever now, and I'll see you soon." For me, Damien was more than just a little brother. He was my best man and my best friend. He was the one I could always count on to come over, meet up with me, regardless of the circumstances, whether it was to go hunting, fishing, doing whatever. At times, he might have been a little overdressed for the dirty work we were going to do or the sport we were going to play. And maybe at times he was in a mad rush to get the job done over with and move on to his next adventure when he came to help. But he would never say no. Never. And he'd never say no to anyone else in here too that he loved. I've had the honor of knowing Damien since day one, obviously, as his big brother. And in fact, my earliest memory is of my parents bringing him home, laying him down and saying to me, "Hey Kristian, this is your little brother. What should we call him?" And to which I answered, "The littlest Obo." It was my favorite TV show at the time. As a family, my parents, Damien and I, have several warm memories together. Damien and I spoke lovingly often of the small things, such as sharing suppers together every night, Sundays being the big one, where we got to watch Walt Disney together, and sometimes actually had some dessert with supper. We also spoke fondly of the family trips taken together, whether it was to Verner to visit the American pair, the uncles and cousins, to Ottawa to visit Grandpa, Aunt Linda, Uncle Larry, Stephen and Cynthia swimming in the pool, or various other destinations throughout the country and even in Florida. As we all know, Damien never liked being alone. This was true from early childhood. Damien would always be following Big Brother around, partaking in all of our adventures with our friends, such as building cabins, skateboard ramps, riding bikes, and playing games. Damien had a very important role in our little gang. He was often, sometimes knowingly, sometimes not, our guinea pig to see if the traps or the ramps would work. Most of the time, neither of them did work, but Damien always remembered the one time when he unknowingly set off the tramp and ended up with a goose egg on his head. Another big part of Damien's life growing up was his extended family, his cousins, aunts, and uncles. We always spoke very fondly of the wonderful childhood we had growing up. With Serge, Eric, Derek, Justin, Alex, riding around on our dirt bikes, snowmobiles, sea-doos, either on American Bears camp or at the hunt camp. And when it came time to riding any of the motorized stuff, he always knew when Damien was coming, because he was coming full blast. Or, as Derek put it, he knew that Damien had outgrown the three-wheeler we had at one point and was ready for a motorcycle, because he was always riding that three-wheeler on two wheels anyway. Through our teenage years, or in his teenage years and through to today, Damien's friends are a huge part of his life. He loved all of them very dearly and always be the one ensuring that they were going to be having fun when they went out together. Damien spent several fun times, whether it was motorbiking, boating, sledding, snowboarding, hanging out, or partying with Jason, he had a few Jasons in his group, Justin, Matt, Gerald, Kelly, and countless more. In our early 20s, something interesting and wonderful happened between Damien and I. The big brother-little brother relationship transformed into a true friendship. We spent several wonderful times together in Toronto, zipping around in his car, me holding on for dear life, as anyone who drove with him I'm sure can attest to. 20s, we then had the pleasure of seeing Damien come back to Sudbury and spend a lot more time with him. While here, he went through several milestones in his life. First of all, he took on a very important role at Inco as a supervisor. Although he had very limited experience supervising, he took the challenge head on and developed into a very effective leader. He loved his crew, and at the same time did not hesitate to make the tough decisions or direct a mechanism required. The second thing we had the pleasure of seeing him go through was last summer and Damien getting married. I could see him that it was one of the happiest days of his life. The only other things that Damien loved as much of his people in his life, and arguably more at times, were his pets and maybe his cell phone. He treated his cats, Miten and Raja, and his little dog Bella, like his own children, spending countless time loving them and playing with them. It's hard to believe that it was only a week ago that he was at my place for supper, laughing, smiling, generally being his happy self. He looked great. And at one point he even ended up doing 50 push-ups in front of us to show our dad. And at that time I thought to myself, oh, I gotta start working on it a little harder. He's coming for me. On that same night, and for no special reason at all, he gave our lovely daughter Robbie a beautiful little onesie saying, "Born to Love Jesus." Damien was an extremely generous soul, as many of us know, always willing to give his shirt off his back to help others. Tracy and I will keep that generosity alive with Robbie and any other children we may have, hopefully quite a few. Through all the years. We pledge that not a holiday, birthday, or event will go by without them receiving a present from an old Damien. And although Robbie didn't get a chance to know him, we'll make sure she knows all about him and feels his big love that he had for her. In the last few months, Damien had rekindled a strong relationship with Jesus. So much so that he had a very spiritual poem tattooed on his side that I'd like to share with you right now. The poem was entitled, "Footprints in the Sand." One night I dreamed I was walking along the beach with the Lord. Many scenes from my life flash across the sky. In each scene, I noticed footprints in the sand. Sometimes there were two sets of footprints, other times there was one. This bothered me because I noticed that during the low periods of my life, when I was suffering from anguish, sorrow, and defeat, I could see only one set of footprints. So I asked the Lord. He promised me, Lord, that if I followed you, you would walk with me always. Yet I noticed that during the most trying periods of my life, the periods when I needed you most, there was only one set of footprints in the sand. Why, Lord? When I needed you the most, were you not there for me? To this the Lord replied, the times when you have seen only one set of footprints, that was when I was carrying you. This poem has a whole new meaning to me now. I now know that as I walk down the beach of my own life and look at the footprints in the sand, they're not mine in the words, they're Damien's and mine. And when I can only see one set of footprints, that's when little brother's carrying me. Thank you all. I love you all. Please remember, Damien, smile. Keep it in your hearts, always. And for those who would like to support myself and my parents and celebrate Damien's life, you're welcome to my parents' home following this service at 1403 Christina Court.